The mockery begins. The massive Zenthran warship Eclipse of Dominion cast its shadow across Manhattan as it descended through Earth's atmosphere. Citizens looked up from the streets, their morning coffee forgotten as the kilometer-long vessel positioned itself above the United Nations headquarters. The ship's crystalline hull reflected the morning sun, creating patterns of light that danced across skyscrapers. Inside the UN Assembly Hall, representatives from every nation sat in tense silence. They had received the transmission 3 days ago. The Zenthran Empire, rulers of 17 star systems, were coming to discuss Earth's place in their domain. Now, as purple light filled the chamber, humanity would meet its first alien visitors face to face. Ambassador Vexlor materialized in the center of the room. Standing 3 meters tall, his elongated frame was covered in scales that shifted between silver and gold. 6 eyes arranged in pairs studied the human assembly with what could only be described as amusement. His 4 arms folded across his chest in a gesture that somehow managed to convey both greeting and condescension. Humans of Earth. Vexlor's voice resonated through the chamber without need for translation technology. I am Ambassador Vexlor of the Zenthran Empire. We have observed your species for some time. Your radio signals have entertained us greatly. His middle eyes seemed to smile, though his mouth remained a thin line. Secretary General Maria Santos stood from her position. Ambassador Vexlor, Earth welcomes you in peace. We are honored by this first contact and hope to establish positive relations with the Zenthran Empire. Vexlor's scales rippled in what might have been laughter. Peace. Relations. Dear primitive species, you misunderstand. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to inform you of your new status as a client world of the Empire. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Captain Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force rose from her observer's seat. With respect, Ambassador, Earth is a sovereign planet. We will gladly discuss trade and cultural exchange, but we will not surrender our independence. All 6 of Vexlor's eyes focused on Rodriguez. Captain, is it? Tell me, what weapons does Earth possess that could possibly concern the Zenthran Empire? Rodriguez stood straighter. We have a capable defense force, nuclear deterrence, and the will to protect our home. This time, Vexlor's laughter was unmistakable. His scales brightened to almost white as his whole body shook. Nuclear weapons, chemical rockets, projectile firearms. He gestured to the ceiling, where holographic displays suddenly showed Earth's military assets. We mastered and discarded such primitive tools millennia ago. Your most powerful weapon would barely scratch the paint on our scout vessels. The ambassador waved one of his lower arms, and the holograms changed. They now showed Zenthran technology, energy shields that could withstand stellar radiation, plasma cannons that could vaporize asteroids, and faster-than-light drives that made Earth's best spacecraft look like children's toys. Your nuclear weapons, Vexlor continued, his tone patronizing, are like throwing stones at a battleship. Your chemical rockets move at the pace of a dying snail. Your projectile weapons. He actually chuckled. We use similar devices for sport, firing at targets for amusement. Dr. James Wu, Earth's leading physicist, stood. Our technology may seem primitive to you, but we've survived and thrived on this planet. We've overcome challenges you can't imagine. Vexlor's upper eyes narrowed. Have you overcome a fleet of 1,000 warships? Have you survived bombardment from orbit? Have you watched your cities turn to glass under plasma fire? His voice grew harder. The Zenthran Empire has conquered races far more advanced than yours. Some fought. All fell. We're not interested in fighting, Santos said, trying to regain control. Surely we can find a peaceful solution. There is a peaceful solution, Vexlor replied. Submit. Become a client world. You will provide resources and labor to the Empire. In return, we will not reduce your population by 90% and turn your planet into a mining colony. The chamber erupted in protests. Representatives shouted in dozens of languages. Rodriguez stepped forward. her hand instinctively moving toward her sidearm before stopping. Vexilor raised all 4 arms, and silence fell unnaturally over the room. You have 30 of your Earth days to decide. Though really, there is nothing to decide. We have already begun positioning our fleet. Look to your skies tonight, humans. Count the new stars. Each one is a Zenthran warship. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Captain Rodriguez, that projectile weapon at your side. One of our children's toys can generate a shield that would stop 1,000 such primitive bullets. Do not embarrass yourselves by resisting. The ambassador began to fade, but Rodriguez spoke up. Ambassador, one question. Vexilor solidified again, looking amused. Yes. Have you ever heard the story of David and Goliath? The alien's translator apparently struggled with the reference. I am unfamiliar with this tale. Rodriguez smiled grimly. It's about a small warrior who defeated a giant that everyone thought was invincible. The giant laughed at the warrior's simple weapon. That was his last mistake. Vexilor's scales dimmed slightly. Quaint mythology will not save you, Captain. Physics is physics. Your weapons are toys, your ships are primitive, and your species is about to learn its place in the galaxy. With that, he vanished in a flash of purple light. The assembly erupted into chaos, but Rodriguez was already activating her communicator. General Harrison. Yes, sir. It's as we feared. Activate Project Hellfire. We have 30 days. As she spoke, she looked through the great windows of the UN building. The sky looked normal now, but tonight it would be different. Tonight, humanity would see the fleet that had come to conquer them. The Zenthrax thought Earth's weapons were toys, that humanity's determination was meaningless against their advanced technology. Rodriguez thought about the secret facilities hidden deep under mountains, about the projects that had been running since humanity first detected alien signals 5 years ago. The Zenthrax knew about Earth's public military technology. They knew nothing about what humanity had been building in the shadows. 30 days, she whispered to herself. Let's see who's laughing then. As she left the UN building, her secure phone buzzed. The message was brief. Hellfire is green. The stones are ready. Rodriguez smiled. David had used a simple sling and a stone to fell Goliath. Humanity's stones would be traveling at a significant percentage of light speed. The giants were about to learn why mocking humanity's ingenuity was a fatal error. The sun set over New York City, and as darkness fell, new lights appeared in the sky. The Zenthran fleet had arrived, just as Vexilor had promised. They hung there, bright and arrogant, secure in their superiority. Below, in hidden bunkers and secret facilities, humanity began its real preparation for war. The aliens had laughed at human weapons. Soon, they would discover that humans had been hiding their true capabilities, waiting for the moment when the galaxy would learn a simple truth. Never underestimate a species that had clawed its way to the stars with primitive rockets and sheer determination. The 30-day countdown had begun. Preparation in the shadows. 5 days had passed since Ambassador Vexilor's ultimatum. The Zenthran fleet hung in Earth's sky like a constellation of threats, their ships maintaining perfect formation beyond the moon's orbit. News channels ran continuous coverage, showing the alien vessels through powerful telescopes. Some people prayed, others protested. But deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, humanity prepared for war. Dr. Marcus Chen stood before a massive view screen in the command center of Project Hellfire. The underground facility stretched for miles, carved from solid rock, and shielded by technology that had been theoretical just 5 years ago. Around him, hundreds of Earth's brightest minds worked with desperate efficiency. Status report, General Harrison commanded as he entered the room. The silver-haired military leader had been preparing for this moment since humanity first detected artificial signals from space. Chen adjusted his glasses and pulled up holographic displays. Sir, the mass drivers are operational at 97% efficiency. We've successfully tested projectiles at 12% light speed. The tungsten carbide penetrators are being manufactured around the clock. Harrison nodded, studying the data and the stealth systems. Lieutenant Colonel Park's team has exceeded expectations, Chen replied. The metamaterial coating makes our weapons platforms virtually invisible to all known scanning methods. The Zenthran won't detect them until it's too late. The general walked to the main display showing Earth and the surrounding space. Red dots marked Zenthran positions. Blue dots, far fewer in number, showed humanity's secret weapons platforms, carefully hidden among the asteroid belt and in lunar craters. What about the fusion warheads? Harrison asked. Chen's expression grew serious. The antimatter catalyzed fusion devices are ready. Each warhead contains enough power to crack a small moon. But sir, we still don't know if their shields can stop them. They'll work, a voice said from the doorway. Captain Rodriguez entered, still wearing her UN dress uniform. I've been analyzing their shield patterns from the scanner data. They're designed to stop energy weapons and deflect solid objects moving at normal speeds, but they have a fatal flaw. She approached the hologram and pointed to a Zenthran destroyer. Their shields operate on predictive algorithms. They detect incoming threats and adjust power distribution accordingly. But those algorithms expect certain velocity ranges. Nothing in their database accounts for projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. General Harrison studied her analysis. You're certain? As certain as we can be without a live test, sir. It's like armor designed to stop arrows suddenly facing bullets. The physics are completely different. Chen nodded excitedly. The captain's right. At 12% light speed, our tungsten projectiles carry kinetic energy equivalent to strategic nuclear weapons. Even if their shields partially deflect them, the impact will be catastrophic. An alarm chimed, and a technician called out, General, we're detecting movement in the Zenthran fleet. 3 ships are descending toward Earth. The main screen zoomed in, showing 3 Zenthran vessels entering the atmosphere. They moved with casual arrogance, their shields glowing as they pushed through Earth's air. Where are they heading? Harrison demanded. Trajectory indicates the Australian outback, sir. The Woomera test range. Rodriguez frowned. That's one of our known military facilities. They're making a point. They watched as the alien ships positioned themselves over the test range. Without warning, brilliant beams of energy lanced down from the vessels. The desert sand turned to glass in seconds. Buildings vaporized. In moments, the entire facility was gone, replaced by a crater of molten rock. The command center fell silent. Then, every screen lit up with an incoming transmission. Ambassador Vexler's face appeared, his 6 eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Humans of Earth, he announced, let this demonstration remind you of the futility of resistance. Your weapons testing facility is now a lake of glass. This was merely 3 of our scout vessels using minimal power. Imagine what our full fleet could do to your cities. The ambassador's image shifted to show the destruction. You now have 25 days to surrender. We suggest you use them wisely. The transmission ended. For a moment, no one spoke. Then General Harrison's voice cut through the silence, hard as steel. Status change. All Hellfire platforms are now authorized for immediate response if fired upon. Chen, how many railguns are operational? 47, sir, plus the 12 prototype plasma kinetic hybrid cannons. Deploy them all. And contact our friends in the asteroid belt. Tell them it's time. Rodriguez looked confused. Friends, sir. Harrison smiled grimly. 6 months ago, we sent volunteers to establish secret mining operations on select asteroids. They'd been hollowing out rocks and turning them into weapon platforms. The Zenthran think we're limited to Earth's surface. They're about to learn that humans have already claimed the high ground. On asteroid 2019 QZ7, nicknamed David Stone by its crew, Commander Lisa Martinez received the coded message. She turned to her team of 20 volunteers who had spent months in the dark, preparing for this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Hellfire is authorized. Begin final preparations. The asteroid was no longer just a rock. Its interior housed a massive electromagnetic accelerator, powered by fusion reactors. The entire asteroid had been converted into humanity's largest rail gun, capable of firing projectiles the size of school buses at 15% light speed. "Ma'am," her weapons officer reported, "targeting solution computed. We can hit their flagship with 98% probability." Martinez looked at the distant lights of the Zenthran fleet. "Not yet. We wait for the general signal. But when it comes," she smiled coldly, "we'll show them why laughing at human weapons was their first and last mistake." Back on Earth, in 1,000 hidden facilities, humanity prepared for a war the Zenthran couldn't imagine. They expected chemical rockets and nuclear bombs. They would face relativistic kinetic weapons, antimatter-catalyzed fusion warheads, and the focused determination of a species that had survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. The Zenthran had destroyed an empty testing facility and called it a demonstration of power. Humanity had turned asteroids into weapons and said nothing. In space, the alien fleet maintained its arrogant formation, shields at minimum power, weapon systems on standby. They saw themselves as teachers, preparing to discipline an unruly child. They didn't realize they had awakened a sleeping giant. 25 days remained. The galaxy watched and waited, most species already writing Earth's obituary. But in the shadows, humanity prepared surprises that would echo through the stars. The Zenthran thought physics was physics, that advanced technology would always defeat primitive determination. They had forgotten one crucial element in their equations. Human ingenuity faced with extinction didn't just adapt, it evolved. The countdown continued, but now humanity wasn't just counting down to surrender. They were counting down to the moment when the laughter would stop, and the galaxy would learn why Earth's children had survived everything the universe had thrown at them. In the command center, General Harrison looked at the deployment map, now showing humanity's true military assets. 25 days, he murmured. That's more than enough time to change history. Dr. Chen nodded, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. "Sir, all systems are green. Project Hellfire is ready." "Good," Harrison replied. "Let them think we're cowering in fear. When the moment comes, we'll teach them the difference between confidence and arrogance." The stars continued to shine, both natural and artificial. But now, some of those lights weren't stars at all. They were humanity's answer to oppression, waiting patiently in the dark. The Zenthran had brought ships. Humanity had turned space itself into a weapon. The second act of Earth's greatest drama was about to begin.